What up? I'm BNFL boy, the underground trainer. I wanted to share some of my bouts from this past Holiday Cup. I know I'm a little late, but it took me a little while to get this together. I never tried this before, so bear with me, give me some grace. Yeah, pretty much I just wanted to talk some Pokemon Go. Probably talk a little music too, if that sounds interesting to you. And then yeah, let's get into it. I was still working out my team order in the beginning here. Ran with a couple of my favorites for this cup. Chief among them, my shiny Charizard. I call him Lord DRAXLER. Caught him after I fought the hype beast formerly known as Arlo. If you've seen his fit, you know what I'm talking about. Full disclosure, this Charizard was more or less purified in error. I really wanted a shiny Mega Charizard, and I didn't fully understand the value of Shadow Pokemon yet. But you know, lemons and lemonade and all of that, so yeah. It kind of bothered me, honestly, at first, but I actually don't mind it anymore. It's shiny, it's blacked out, it's my colors. His attack IV is maxed and the rest aren't bad. They're pretty much floored. Might not be the best by all the standards, but honestly, perfect for how I like to play. Plus, it also kind of forced me into realizing that purified Pokemon are more or less the rescue animals of this game's universe, world, what have you. Which if you've been playing any of these games as long as I have, or if you care to follow the lore how I do, it's kind of a cool idea. I don't know, feel free to leave your thoughts about that in the comments. I welcome the conversation. Queen Boomy putting in serious work right here. I named my Breloom after the Earth King Boomy and Avatar because they got the same hat. And except this Breloom was a she, so yeah. I think in Ruby, I ran with Breloom because it's like a mushroom kangaroo, and I always dig kangaroos for some reason. But it is really cool to have on your team in a scuffle. It is quite formidable. Highly recommended. I think this was a community day Breloom. I can't remember if it was or not when Breloom first got grass knot. But I think I've had this one since then. Yeah, I hadn't fought with Meloetta at all before this cup, but after seeing her run through ops in a bunch of matchups, I must say I definitely have a newfound respect. She's not perfect, but she's still a monster. Janelle Monáe fans might recognize the name I gave her. Her face kind of reminded me of Cindy Mayweather from the Metropolis artwork, and they're both singers and performers, so yeah, it just made sense. I was really happy to get some use out of this mythical. A lot of the mythicals are the ones that you have like entire research campaigns for, end up just sitting in the box because you can't really do nothing with them. And that was not the case for this one. Definitely recommend trying it out if you have one. Also, sidebar, if you've never listened to Arcandroid front to back, you're doing yourself a grave disservice on God. But carrying on. If it wasn't obvious, I do play a lot of PvP. It's honestly one of my main reasons for playing Pokemon Go. I started 2016 hoping we'd be able to do this. Kind of fell off when that didn't happen. I picked it back up when PvP first launched and fell off again because it was low-key trash. There wasn't any meta or anything like that or any seasons as far as I knew. We were all just kind of fighting aimlessly. I definitely wasn't using any kind of real strategy or anything. But yeah, I think a while after Mega Evolution made it in game, I came crawling back. I had to, man. That's one of my favorite mechanics in any Pokemon game. Probably since I played through Y. I don't know. I look at them like Pokemon with Super Saiyan forms. How can you not dig Pokemon with Super Saiyan forms? It's been cool to see them all in action, especially in Ultra League, which is probably my favorite league to fight in, I think. That's where I have my most usable Pokemon, at least. A lot of mine are like Master League capable, like with impeccable IVs, but I either haven't had the candy, especially not for some of the rare stuff, or the Stardust to boost them that high yet. I play a lot, but I also play semi-casually. I, like most of us, have other things that not only require my time and money, but that I want to do with my time and money. And the pursuit of becoming the very best is unfortunately not my full-time gig right now. So yeah, I try to be as aware, some might say frugal, about what I'm boosting whenever I can. And I also kind of enjoy playing the game just at my leisure. I don't always make decisions about what I use or what's on my team based on meta relevance or which are considered the quote-unquote best or the strongest or whatever. I genuinely play to enjoy the game, man. I'm actually a Pokemon fan for real, and I've accumulated a good amount of favorites since I first played one of the mainline games. So I'm definitely sticking with the homies in this game. I don't judge anyone that does prioritize the strongest ones or what have you, but that's just it. I feel like this game is meant to be played however you want. Like, there's not really a wrong or right way to play. Like the whole purification thing, there's a lot of purification hate. Purify your Pokemon if you want to purify your Pokemon. It's not really that big a deal. The whole purpose is for you to enjoy it. And if you're adhering to other people's standards and not getting your enjoyment out of it, then it kind of defeats the point. Like, I've seen a lot of people on Reddit or Discord post screenshots of something really cool they just caught, whatever it is they're showing off, and you can tell they're really excited about it, but they'll caption it with a question that's something along the lines of, what should I do with this, or is this worth it, or like basically asking other people to tell them it's okay to spend their resources, their Stardust or whatever on it, because it's not a top PvP fighter or raid attacker, PvE attacker, whatever. And that's weird to me. Honestly, not that players are asking these questions, because these could be people that are just starting out or returning or whatever. But it's weird to me that anyone would even feel like they had to. That's what I mean. Like, the pressure, the fact that pressure is even a thing, honestly. Like, yo, if you been playing Pokemon Go and you finally catch something in this game you've been after since 8th grade in any Pokemon game, and you're really excited about using it on a team or whatever, or boosting it to max it out or whatever, I don't think any of those things, anybody else's standards or ideas of how you should play the game should get in the way of doing just that. I did switch up halfway through to Harambe. I also hadn't really ran with him much on any of my teams, but he rarely disappoints me, and he definitely performed in these bouts. One of the other ways that being a trainer on a budget comes into play for me, I'm making slow creeping progress opening up second charge moves on a lot of my fighters. So in a lot of matchups like these, I end up running with just one for most of them. But we got along okay with Wild Charge right here. It took me a round or two to realize that one of the best ways to compensate was stacking them when I could, so I can throw a couple back to back, especially with the defense trap after. He's glass after he's burned one, but he stands up real well to them. Since picking the game up again, I've been catching up on all the changes in PvP since I was in MIA, and the metas and how they've shaped up, and I've been trying to actually get good at it, and that's kind of what you're seeing here. What I'm sharing with you is me putting my reps in to try and get my weight up, honestly. In case anyone was wondering why Lord DRAXLER, first off, a lot of my favorite Pokemon have like Lord or King or Queen, or I think even a Saint. I have a Saint or two. I named my Yveltal Saint Eves, partially because it looks cool to me, but also so I can tell which is which. I have a lot of families of Pokemon. Like, I have a whole family of Charmander, Charizard line, with a bunch of different IV sets and CPs and different move sets and all of that. And it becomes increasingly harder to keep track of which is supposed to be for which, especially if I have to pick a raid team real quick, or if there's like a special cup in PvP I haven't already made a team for. Sometimes I'm confused about which one ends up in like the recommended. So I like to be able to tell just by the name, and then the name is going to usually indicate yada yada yada. In this situation, there was only one Lord DRAXLER, and I just used Lord in this case to denote how rad I think he is. But aside from that, though, I'm a big heavy music fan, especially more modern, like experimental heavy music. And there's this album called Raining Cement by this dude named Jesse DRAXLER. It's been in my rotation on and off since it came out. If you're unfamiliar, Jesse DRAXLER is a visual artist. He's actually a photographer for a lot of acts, a lot of bands. in the metal and punk and extreme music sphere beyond even. He's shot a bunch of acts like Chelsea Wolfe, whom I love. Also Rico Nasty, Zola Jesus, Full of Hell, Portrayal of Guilt, and Street Sex, which are both from my city. I could go on and on. Dude has done a lot. I think he's even shot 9 Inch Nails. But this album he put out, Raining Cement, I think it may have been a pandemic project. He basically went out himself and recorded a bunch of noises and found sounds with a field recorder, and then he made the equivalent of a producer sample pack from that. He sent that pack to a handful of the artists that he had previously worked with or done photography for, and they all then made new songs out of the samples he collected, and he compiled that collection of songs into this album, and it's pretty wicked, man. A lot of glitchy, unhinged sounds, like some industrial EBM texture in there, and a lot of harsh noise, if you're into that. And for me, it was cool to hear so many artists I was already into pop up on this record in this context. I think the Portrayal of Guilt track is definitely one of my favorites, but I had a few. I definitely recommend you give it a listen if that sounds appealing to you. What does this have to do with my Charizard, you might ask? Well, not a lot, except I was listening to that LP a lot around the time I caught him, and he's also monochrome, so I felt like it matched. If you go look up Jesse DRAXLER's art style, you'll see what I mean. But yeah, that's the whole spiel. But yeah, that's all she wrote for this one. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. What else? I want to talk music with y'all too, as well as Pokemon. So I left a shortcut to a YouTube playlist. It has some of my favorite tracks from 2022, maybe a weird mix, shuffle for an adventure, and find me on Reddit or IG even. I tend to lurk a little bit on both, and yeah, till next time, y'all take care.